And good morning and welcome to VSA Capital 5-Minute Morning Miner on Thursday, June the 5th. Morning, Paul.
Good morning. I hope you didn't get wet getting in here.
A little bit wet, but not too bad. Not
Yeah.
too bad. Light rain. Just keeps you cool on the cycle in. I'm cycling so hard, I need to keep cool. Right, there's quite a lot today, so let's not natter on like this, Paul. There's various bits and pieces. Let's start with our favourite topics of tin and tungsten. We'll start with tungsten. Obviously, yesterday, Tungsten West was named as an EU critical materials project, which is obviously very exciting. You get a nice shiny certificate. The only problem, of course, with that certificate is that unlike a banknote, it does not say on the back of it, we promise to pay the bearer on demand. And I don't know, Paul, can you name me a sort of an EU project that was being nominated by the EU as a project, which has then gone on and been able to get funding from the EU? Can you name one?
Well, they have to finalize yet some of those final decisions, but there are some other named projects out there, like the Sinovich lithium project there along the German border. That's another one that's been declared, and so has Savannah Resources lithium pegmatite project there in Portugal. So yeah, we're just waiting for those firms to actually pony up cash, I think.
Yeah. I mean, look, clearly it's good news that the stock price has risen yet again today as the punters are all trying to. I mean, tungsten's a hot stock. We're up at 7p now, so it's had a theoretically good rally. Obviously, a long way away from the £1 or so that it was after we IPO'd it and raised them £40 million. But obviously, we've mentioned this many times. You have to allow for the convertible bonds. They're obviously about to now do tranche H. And they do swamp the equity. So just be very careful if you're trading this. I don't deny the fact that I'm a bondholder, so I do have quite a good understanding of it all. But even then, they're so complicated, I don't fully understand. There you go. But actually, what I found more interesting was yesterday was a massive day for tin, wasn't it, Paul?
Was it? Go ahead and talk about it. I didn't catch that news.
I caught you here then, Paul, because you should have done. Two really big things happened actually yesterday in the tin world. International Resource Holdings bought 56% of Alphamin for 503 million Canadian dollars. Alphamin obviously is one of the highest grade tin mines in the world in the DRC, but currently shut down because of the rebels. But that really is a huge amount of money in going into a tin project. And also Metals X launched a partial offer for 28% of Green Technology for $17 million. And Green Technology own half the Renison mine in Tasmania, which is a big tin Western producer. So there's a massive amount of consolidation. What's going on? Already a very tight market in tin. And of course, the one area of the world that has an awful lot of tin is Cornwall. So, but I think most people know that because I talk about it so regularly. But it actually was a big day for tin. And tin stocks really should be moving. They're not, but probably because, like you, not many people spotted all of that. You've got to be quite a follower of the tin market to spot all of these things, which I am. Anyway, moving on to other things. Jubilee Metals. Now, they've sold off. I don't suppose Leon really wanted to sell it off, did he? But they've sold off their chrome and PGM operations for $90 million. But I mean, the trouble was the share price just was not reflecting value. I think the board said, well, if you've got an offer of $90 million for it, you better sell it off, which he has. And then they're going to focus on the copper in Zambia, I think. But what's your view, Paul?
Well, it isn't a done deal yet, but it is a binding offer for $90 million. It is supposed to be in cash and staged payments. Apparently, it's a private party which has come in with the bid for these assets. It is the operating assets for chrome and PGMs of Jubilee in South Africa. So Jubilee does intend to hold on to its Jate chrome and PGM exploration project in the country. But otherwise, it does focus Jubilee specifically into their Zambian copper activity, which they feel has better scope and scale for putting money into.
Well, we'll watch this space. The stock's trading at 4p today, so again, still a long way off its highs. I noticed that Asiamet, that used to be one of the darlings of the stock market, they've announced a formal commencement of their debt financing progress for BKM Stage 1. That's been going on a long time, hasn't it, Paul?
It has indeed. We've been waiting for this for quite a long time. The project as a SXEW mine is obvious that it would or ought to be built, but it's been held up by who exactly it, trying to find who exactly it will be that will go ahead and do the financing for a mine there in central Kalimantan Island in this situation. So it is a formalized process now, we presume. So that means there'll be non-disclosure agreements to sign by these banks and debt providers, as well as a data room for them to enter for the specifics on how to model their potential financing terms.
Yeah. And then also, do you want to just talk through Griffin Mining had the results? Griffin's obviously a really slightly strange one. It's actually a zinc producer, but actually based in China.
Yeah, Griffin was hoping to have a record year, but they ended up with a contractor fatality in late October underground, which caused the Chinese government to shut them down from production underground through the full fourth quarter, or the remaining part of the fourth quarter, and it has repercussions into this first quarter as well, such that they had a fall in total base and precious metal production on a year-on-year basis. But profit came down as well, but it came in still at $11.4 million, or about 6 cents a share. And they did manage to produce over 39,000 tons of zinc, over 16,000 ounces gold, 276,000 ounces silver, and about 1,300 tons of lead. All of those are down by double-digit percentages of between 10 and 20%, say, but it isn't a permanent issue, but just disappointing, of course, for shareholders that the shutdown there in China ended up being so long, as in comparison to what it would otherwise have been if the mine was in some other jurisdictions around the world. So, but they may have a view around China for longer extended shutdowns, simply because the number of fatalities in their underground coal mines is so much worse than the rest of the world, that they do a lot longer reviews of mining projects for these situations.
All right. Anything else, Paul? Or are we done?
No, gotta mention this Whitecliff discovery here. ASX listed Whitecliff as an explorer for copper in Nunavut, and they had a really big drill hole come in for them here for their Ray project. Over 105 meters of copper mineralization, grading 2.25% copper and 7 grams silver from 27 meters depth. That's a huge hole. This particular target is only 150 meters of strike that they've tested so far, but it seems to be on a 10-kilometer long mineral trend. So they're getting looks like what is a helicopter-supported exploration. They're getting the helicopters back right away to it in order to see just what kind of size this thing might have.
We'll await and see, as they say. Very good, Paul. Thanks. You'll be with, I think, David tomorrow. I must admit it's Friday, and I've got to go on a course with a client.
I got it. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
This podcast has been produced and edited by VSA Capital. It is intended for information purposes and not as investment advice. The information is intended for recipients who understand the risks associated with equity investments in smaller companies. Please do your own research and do not rely on a single source when making an investment decision. VSA Capital may derive fees from this content and seeks to do business with the companies mentioned.